I'm looking ahead to showers for your weekend, when they could affect your outdoor plans.
6 children are injured after this bus crash in Goldsboro. The driver airlifted to a nearby hospital. What we know about their conditions tonight.
Teacher rally. Thousands of educators across North Carolina will come here to downtown Raleigh tomorrow, protesting a lack of school funding. How parents are preparing for canceled classes.
So much to talk about here at 7 o'clock. That school bus crash, of course, tonight, a teacher rally tomorrow, and rain in the forecast for Saturday. This is the newscast that isn't just the news talking to you. We want you to be part of the conversation. So email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. It is your questions and feedback that drive this newscast. First up, we need to talk about that school bus crash. Look at this scene tonight in Goldsboro. Just awful. Sky 5 over the scene. This is Carolina Street and Vine Street. We are told again 6 students and the bus driver all went to the hospital. I want to bring Willie Danley in. He is in Goldsboro now at the scene. Willie, they towed that bus away not long ago, but you've been there. You saw it with your own eyes. You've been talking to neighbors and parents. Talk us through what happened here.
Well, Dan, the people that we're talking to are saying this wasn't just a traumatic experience for those children on the bus, but also anyone in this area who had to see that. We know that those students were from Dillard Academy. It was 9 students on that bus and 2 adults, including that bus driver. 6 of those students were taken to the hospital, and that bus driver was airlifted to the hospital. I want to show you this bridge. This is where it happened. You can see that clearance is 7 feet and 6 inches. I'm a pretty tall guy, and you can see how I compare to this bridge. And so right now, it's not clear on why this bus driver decided to drive under that bridge, being that the average bus is anywhere from 10 to 11 feet. I want to take you to some Sky 5 video that captured as they flew above this scene, and you can just see the extent of the damage there. People in this area tell us it was really sad to see those students lined up in a single file line. You could even see some of the injuries on those students that were at this scene. Right now, we're working to learn more information about the extent of the injuries to that bus driver. As I said, we did speak to people who live in this area, and they told us that this is not the first accident that's happened at this bridge. This actually isn't the first school bus that's crashed at this bridge, but they tell us it's by far the worst. We are going to be asking many questions tonight. Tune in to Fox 50 at 10 and WRAL News at 11 for more on this story. Willie Danley, WRAL News in Goldsboro.
Thank you. All right, let's get to a story now happening here at 7 o'clock. We just learned about a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of the people killed in a plane crash that also killed former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. We have Brian Schrader covering this for us from the Live Center. Brian, what's new? What do we know here?
Well, all new at 7, bring you up to speed with where we are now. This plane crashed back in December in Statesville, killing Greg Biffle, his family, and 3 others. A total of 7 people killed in that crash. And we have learned that 2 wrongful death lawsuits now have been filed against the estate of Greg Biffle. Dennis and Jack Dutton, father and son, were on board that plane. They were among those killed. And the suits are seeking $15 million each, alleging that Biffle was negligent, reckless, and careless before the crash. In February, a wrongful death lawsuit was filed on behalf of Biffle's daughter, Emma, who was killed. The NTSB still is investigating this crash. They released a preliminary report, but they are still working on that final report for what caused it.
Got it. All right, Brian, thank you. Let's move to our forecast now. We got some rain we're expecting this weekend. Kat, I'm sure people will be happy to see any type of rain. Not nearly as much as we were hoping for, though.
And that's the shift that the European model first saw earlier today. And now we're starting to see some of the late evening models fall more in line with the European model. And this doesn't mean that we're not going to see rain on Saturday. It just means that the heavier rainfall totals are more than likely going to stay south of the triangle, while points from the triangle north see a little less rain. That could still waver a little bit. This is going to be highly dependent on the exact track low pressure takes, but it's probably going to be closer to 1/4 of an inch in our northern counties, 1/2 inch to maybe an inch in our southern counties. Still a big spread amongst the models on exactly how much rain we could pick up, but it's certainly looking lighter. The European still an outlier with barely any rain in the area, but we'll take anything we can get, even if it's 1/4 of an inch of rain. The drought expanded today in the extreme drought. Now there's even exceptional drought east of Charlotte. I'll have a closer look at futurecasts for the weekend coming up.
If they would just pay teachers a livable wage and wouldn't mess with the education fund, this would be an issue as it is. This wouldn't be an issue as it is. How about that? I'm misreading our quote of the day, but hopefully you were reading along with me. It's coming from a parent in Cumberland County. She's, of course, talking about teachers and the ongoing debate over funding here in North Carolina for our public schools. She's one of the many parents that we spoke to today having to change plans for tomorrow because teachers from all over the state are coming to Raleigh. They will march through the streets. They'll be part of a rally demanding better pay. Remember the last time that they did this. This was video here of the NCAE rally in 2019, teachers filling the streets in downtown Raleigh. It was a pretty crazy scene, honestly. So if a whole bunch of teachers are going to be here tomorrow doing that again, it means they won't be in the classroom. And that's why so many districts are either going remote or making tomorrow a teacher workday. Here's WRAL's Carly Haynes.
And of course, Wake County isn't the only school district to be changing their plans tomorrow. We're here at Halifax Mall. This is where the rally is scheduled, and we're starting to see these white tents go up, some water bottles here for teachers and supporters, and they're expecting this to be big. And because of that, that is why school districts around the state have started changing their plans. So far, at least 18 different school districts out of 115 have adjusted their schedules because teachers are calling out. Durham schools made the decision to close more than a week ago after receiving a higher than average number of call-outs. Cumberland making the call last night. A district spokesperson said about 800 teachers had requested a substitute for tomorrow, with only about 60% of those classrooms actually getting coverage. To make up the missed day, students on the traditional calendar in Cumberland County will have classes the Tuesday after Memorial Day, extending the school year for those students. So some families are now having to scramble with plans.
As soon as it was on the table as an option, a notice should have gone out to parents so they could have started looking for care if that is what happened. But before all of this, if they would just pay teachers a livable wage and wouldn't mess with the education fund, this wouldn't be an issue as it is.
The last time the North Carolina Association of Educators planned for a rally this large was in 2018. It is expected to bring in educators and supporters from all across the state. The group is demanding higher teacher pay, more funding for public schools, and to end policies prioritizing tax cuts as a state budget has yet to be finalized. And this will all get started around 10 a.m. with people gathering. The event set to begin at 11, and it'll last until around 2 p.m. Carly Haynes, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And you can count on WRAL for live coverage of tomorrow's rally. We're going to have it on WRAL.com and WRAL News Plus, including some analysis from our education insider, Emily Walkenhorst, and our NC Capital team. Moving now to a quick episode of Drought Daily. Until this drought's over, we're going to answer your questions about the whole thing and how it's impacting us all. A viewer named Steve emailed 7 p.m. at WRAL.com, writing, the state has a burn ban, but Johnston County does not. Can you burn in Johnston County? Does the state ban overrule the county non-ban? So thank you to Steve for sending this in. Yeah, it's a good question, right? There is a state burn ban in place because of the drought, and it makes sense. I mean, look at the fire that broke out at Lake Crabtree Park in Wake County. That was earlier this month. When the weather is this dry, there is a real fire danger. So to answer Steve's question, no, you cannot burn in Johnston County. So the statewide burn ban applies to everyone, the entire state. Counties can't just say, actually, no thanks, we're going to do it our own way. But they can put in harsher restrictions if they want, so they can kind of get you from the state and county perspective. You see, the statewide burn ban doesn't ban all fires. The state will still let you have a fire if it's within 100 feet of your house, like a fire pit in your backyard, that sort of thing. But the county can ban this. Several counties do have burn rules in place that are harsher than the state. So, for example, Wake, Orange, and Chatham counties, you cannot start a fire at all within 100 feet of your home. No fire pits, nothing like that allowed. In other counties, though, like Johnston County, you are good to go for that sort of thing if you have a fire pit. This is why it's important to go to your county government's website as well and double check these sorts of things, or just ask us a question, right? This is another episode of Drought Daily. If you don't want to go to the county website, go to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Send us your question like Steve did, and we'll keep answering them. Here's that email one more time, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. What else do you want to know about this drought, some of the water restrictions, the burn bans? Let us know. We'll talk about it right here at 7 o'clock. We're just getting started. After the break, we're talking health care. I spoke to the guy in charge of planning the road ahead for North Carolina's state health plan. He says they're going to lower costs and improve care. How exactly is that going to work, though? And a student in Johnston County is up for an International Leadership Award in robotics. Pretty impressive, don't you think? Stick around. It's tonight's One Last Thing. A couple of big healthcare headlines in North Carolina today. First, Medicaid. Governor Josh Stein signed the bill that bridged that $300 million funding gap. That's a biggie. Medicaid was set to run out of money as early as next month. All the back and forth over the new state budget, it kept delaying that funding, but that ended today. Millions of North Carolinians will keep their coverage. Great news. Then there's the multi-million-dollar settlement over EpiPens. Families have been overpaying for these for years, hundreds of dollars in overpaying for each one. Today, the North Carolina Attorney General and the state treasurer announced a settlement requiring the drug maker to refund taxpayers. $11 million will go back to the state health plan and to Medicaid. So a lot of big news on the health care front here in our state. Medicaid funding approved, a little extra cash on that settlement on pharmaceuticals. But there's another big health care story that still has a few chapters in the works, the state health plan. It faced a $500 million budget shortfall this year, and the treasurer's office solved this in part by raising premiums. Healthcare is more expensive for many of the people on the plan. They're paying more. But another budget shortfall could be on the way. So how will the state treasurer's office bridge that gap? Well, they're working on it. They brought in Dr. Brian Miller. He works for Johns Hopkins Hospital. He advises Congress on Medicare. He's been published in the Harvard Business Review and the New England Journal of Medicine. And now he's on the board of trustees for North Carolina's state health plan. I sat down with him to talk about all of this. Now, before our talk, his office sent me over some bullet points about their plan and some of their goals, including a biggie, to lower costs and improve care. And that got me wondering, how exactly? I mean, is there anything nowadays that's going to give you more, give it to you better for paying less? Not in my life. Well, here's how he explained it.
You know, the health plan, we have over 500,000 members, active employees, dependents, and then we also have 206,000 or so Medicare retirees. You or I, as an individual, are one purchaser. So technically, we're a group purchaser. So you're correct that as individuals, it's hard for us to get better value or lower costs. But when you have hundreds of thousands of people purchasing together, there is an opportunity to get lower costs.
Okay. All right. I get it. Makes sense. It's like Costco. You know, when you buy gallons of mayonnaise instead of that little jar, you pay less per fluid ounce. I understand now. Miller gave me, though, a more specific health-related example.
Like, if you have 100 hip replacements versus 1,000 hip replacements, we'd say, hey, you know, I want you all to take these 1,000 hip replacements. Will you give us a better deal? And the answer, you know, often is yes. And if you get a better deal, one, that's cheaper for the members, and that's cheaper for the whole plan, right? Because that can help control premium growth.
And it's also part of the plan to get those free surgeries for people that we've heard about several different times. Now, of course, the surgeries aren't free. I mean, the surgeons get paid and there's money exchanged there. But the people who are on the plan would have an option to not pay a single dollar for a deductible or a copay or anything. It's all included with your premium. But it's not just about money, these types of negotiations. He gave an example like this, of a pregnant teacher looking for an open appointment, and she's only offered those appointments during the weekday, during her work schedule, when she can't make it. Miller doesn't think that is good enough.
What we're saying is that's not really access. Access needs to be convenient for the member. Do you have like early morning hours? Do you have evening hours? Do you have weekend clinic? So that negotiating leverage of having such a large health plan allows us to think differently.
So he's confident that they can get this type of work done without extra funding, too, from the state. Of course, he's open to it, but he says that it would take more efficiency than anything else and to do a better job using that power, that leverage as a large provider. But it is worth mentioning, hospitals are big businesses, and they don't love the idea of being pushed around or having leverage used against them when it comes to money. It could lead to some hard decisions or difficult discussions.
If I run a multi-billion-dollar business and you're telling me I have to do business or contract differently, My answer is, why should I? And the answer is, we're the purchaser. We want to partner with you. We'll partner with somebody else if you delivery system or doctor don't want to be the preferred provider. We'll partner with a different collection of doctors or hospitals. But I think it's anchoring on the status quo, because if you're running a large multi-billion-dollar business and you have a margin and that's working, you don't want to change.
Dr. Miller and I talked about a lot of things during our conversation, like the GLP-1s, for instance, and the challenges of meeting the needs of rural communities. You can find the full interview on the WRAL YouTube page. Just search State Health Plan. Kat?
All right, let's talk about the drought, Dan. We got the update today from the Drought Monitor. We get that every Thursday morning. Extreme drought in place for most of our viewing area now. And there is a sliver of North Carolina just east of Charlotte that's in exceptional drought. That is the worst possible drought category that you can be in. So not heading in the right direction, even though some of us did see some rain last night. Extreme drought continues from Raleigh, points north, Sanford, Benson, over toward Goldsboro, Wilson, Clinton, all in severe drought, and extreme drought in Southern Pines and Fayetteville. Futurecast is showing rain, though, Saturday, and we've been telling you about this for several days now. Here's the thing. The rain looks a little bit lighter around the triangle and our northern counties. It may be more of the soaking rain that would be confined to our southern cities and down toward the coast. Still, Saturday is cloudy, it's cool, and it is likely to be damp. We've got scattered showers during the day, but it looks like it would be on the lighter side. At least that's the trend that we've seen that started this afternoon. The European model first caught on to that trend, and then all the new models that have come in tonight continue to show that kind of motion where we've got more breaks in the rain and we're really in the light green shades. We never quite get into the yellows and the oranges with the heavier rain. We still would need 8 to 10 inches of rain to end the drought. So this was never going to be rain that ended the drought for us. The rain potential Sunday, we're going to kind of go in the middle of the numbers right now, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Our southern cities seeing a little more, our northern cities seeing a little bit less than that. But it's not going to end the drought, bottom line here. We've got the Kentucky Derby coming up on Saturday right here on WRAL. They'll have good weather in Louisville, not so great weather here in the Triangle, so it's really going to be a great day to stay inside and watch it. A live look at Durham. The Bulls are in town tonight. It's Bark in the Park, 72 degrees right now, a wind out of the north. It's a perfect night for it out there. Tomorrow should be another nice night for baseball. The wet weather does not get here until starting early Saturday morning, so that chance for rain tomorrow night is really during the overnight hours. Saturday, just 58 for the high. It's going to be a cool rain Saturday. Sunday, we're up to 68 with sunshine. It looks like a great day if you can move some of those outdoor plans to Sunday. Next week, looking warmer. We're back in the 80s. We'll have another chance for rain Wednesday. Check in with meteorologist Mike Mays for an update tonight at 11. He'll let you know if that trend toward lower rainfall totals continues.
All right, thank you, Kat. There are some pretty amazing kids in our area, students and engineers and leaders, and some of them are all three. Our one last thing is another episode of 7 p.m. Super Kids, right after the break. One last thing tonight, it's a good one. A student from Johnston County in the running for a Global Leadership Award. Yes, global, the whole planet. Students from all over the world are considered, and a junior at Smithfield-Selma High School is a finalist. I think you know what this means.
7 p.m. Super Kids!
Oh, yes, it is time for 7 p.m. Super Kids. And Jordan Watts fits the bill. She is the leader of her local robotics team known as the FRC 6004. These students design, build, and program robots to do different tasks. And those robots and the teams, they go on to compete in local and state and national and international competitions. There are dozens of students that get involved in this. Jordan's title is Director of